Hello and welcome back to my channel, Learn Property Valuation with Dr. T. In the last video, we looked at the amount of 1 naira and how it is used. Today, we'll be looking at the present value of 1 naira. Present value of 1 naira is actually the inverse of the amount of 1 naira. At the end of this video, you should understand what the present value of 1 naira is, how it is calculated, and when it is used. Let's begin. As I said at the beginning of the video, the present value of 1 naira table is the direct inverse of the amount of 1 naira table. So whereas for the amount of 1 naira, we are trying to calculate how much money invested now at a particular interest rate will come to at a future date. For the present value of 1 naira, what we are trying to find out is if I am going to collect a certain amount of money at a future date at a particular interest rate, how much do I need to put aside now? So, given the laws of inflation, it is obvious that what I will invest now should be lower than what I am going to receive in future. So, for the present value of 1 naira, the amount we are always looking for is less than what we have. Unlike the amount of 1 naira, where the present value is known, but the future value is what we are looking for the present value of 1 naira, it is the future value that is known and it is the present value that we are looking for. So let's begin to see how to calculate this. So as you can see on the screen, the formula for the present value of 1 naira is 1 over 1 plus I raised to power n, which is 1 over amount of 1 naira. Okay? And definitely we multiply by p always. So it's still the same variables as we use with the amount of 1 naira. It is our I is equal to interest rate in decimal, of course, and our n is equal to number of years, and our p is equal to principal, which is the amount that the investor is putting aside or the amount that the investor is hoping to receive. Okay, so basically, as I said, once you know your amount of 1 naira, your PV is just simply equal to 1 over A. And remember, A is 1 plus I raised to power n. So let's look at one question and see how do we use this formula to solve a question. So I have a question here, and the question says, calculate the present value of 1 naira receivable in 5 years at a discount rate of 6% per annum. Now, while the amount of 1 naira is compounding, the present value of 1 naira is discounting. So we use the formula PV is equal to 1 over 1 plus I raised to power n. And I've told you earlier, always state out your variables before you start calculating. So I in this question is 6%, which is 0.06, and n is 5 years, and p is, which is your principal, is 1 naira. So using the formula, we say PV is equal to 1 over 1 plus 0.06 raised to power 5 times 1 naira. And then that gives us 1 over 1.06 raised to power 5 times 1 naira. And that gives us 1 over 1.34 times 1 naira. And that gives us 0.74 times 1 naira. So our answer is 0.74 naira. The interpretation of this is that if I am going to get 1 naira in 5 years' time and the discount rate is 6%, I must invest 0.74 naira today. I must invest 74 kobo today to be able to get 1 naira in 5 years' time. That's the interpretation of this. So let's look at another question again. So the second question says, a freehold property will be sold in 5 years for an estimated 45 million naira. A prospective investor requires a 12% per annum return. Calculate the maximum price the investor should pay today. So to break down the question, what it means is that we know that the property is going to be sold for 45 million in 5 years' time. We are looking for how much needs to be invested today to be able to get that 45 million in 5 years' time. interest rate is 12%. So that's why we're using the present value of 1 naira. The future amount is known, but the present amount is unknown. So we use the present value of 1 naira. So once again, we use the formula PV is equal to 1 over 1 plus I raised to power n times P. Our I from this question is 12%, which is 0.12. Our N is 5 years. And our P is 45 million naira. So to get the PV, we say 1 over 1 plus 0.12 raised to power 5 times 45 million naira. And that gives us 1 over 1.76 times 45 million naira, which is equal to 0.57 times 45 million naira. And that gives us 25,534,208.51 naira. So the interpretation of this is that to get 45 million naira in 5 years' time at 12% interest, the investor must invest 25,534,280 naira 51 kobo today. So as I said, the amount for present value is always less because it is the present value that we are looking for. Okay. I gave you a trick in the last video. I said when you are looking for the multiplier for amount of 1 naira, it must always be over 1. It must always be over 1. Now for present value, when you're looking for the multiplier, it must always be less than 1. And that's why we have 0.57 here. That's the multiplier. This one, that's the multiplier. It must always be less than 1. So once you're doing your calculations and you are getting a figure over 1 for present value, just know that you are wrong. Okay, so I hope we understand that. So once again, like we did in the last video, I'll give you a question that you can practice on your own. After doing it, you can put your answers in the comment section and let me help you review them.